Welcome to our countdown of the top military powers in Asia. Now, before we begin, let's just acknowledge the phrase top military powers is objectively terrifying. I mean, it sounds like a reality show we'd all be contractually obligated to watch after the apocalypse, but it's also important to understand the geopolitical realities of this massively armed continent. So, let's dive into the rankings and see which countries have the most formidable armed forces on the continent. We'll be looking at their military budgets because, let's face it, tanks and fighter jets don't pay for themselves, people. We'll also be considering the size of their armies, their fancy military toys, and a whole bunch of other factors that make a country a major player on the international stage. Get ready for some shocking statistics, some eyebrow-raising alliances, and maybe, just maybe, a healthy dose of existential dread. Buckle up. First up, we've got China, a country that's basically been playing real-life civilization on easy mode for the last few decades. They've got a massive population, a booming economy, and they're not afraid to spend big on their military. We're talking billions, folks. Billions with a B, and what are they buying with all that cash? Well, pretty much everything state-of-the-art fighter jets, aircraft carriers that look like they could launch a small moon, and enough tanks to make even Putin jealous. They've even got hypersonic missiles, which, and I cannot stress this enough, are terrifying. Seriously, it's like they skipped right over regular missiles and went straight for the ones that sound like they were named by a 12-year-old playing a video game. But here's the thing about China. They're not just about brute force. They're also investing heavily in technology like cyber warfare and AI. It's like they're building a real-life Skynet, and honestly, I'm not sure if I should be impressed or terrified. Maybe both. Next up, we've got India, a country with a proud military history and a whole lot of neighbors it needs to keep an eye on. They've got the second largest army in the world, a nuclear arsenal, and they're not afraid to use them. Okay, maybe they are afraid to use the nukes, but the point is they've got them. And they're not just sitting on their laurels either. India has been modernizing its military like crazy, buying new weapons systems from countries like Russia and the US. It's like they're playing a real-life game of Risk, and they're determined to collect all the territories, or at least protect the ones they've got. But India's military strength isn't just about projecting power. It's also about dealing with some pretty serious internal security challenges like terrorism and insurgency. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it, and right now that someone is India. Chapter 3, Russia-Siberia, with a side of missiles. Now, while Russia spans 2 continents, its Asian side is nothing to sneeze at, militarily speaking. They've got a whole lot of land to defend in that region, and defend it they do with, you guessed it, more nukes. Look, I'm not saying that Russia's entire foreign policy can be summed up as we have nukes. So there, but it's definitely a recurring theme. But Russia's military presence in Asia isn't just about nukes. They've also got a powerful navy, a formidable air force, and enough ground troops to make Genghis Khan jealous. Plus, they're masters of Cold War-era mind games, which, let's be honest, never really went out of style. Russia's strategic location in Asia gives it a lot of leverage in the region. They're close to the Middle East, they share a border with China, and they've got access to some pretty important shipping lanes. It's no wonder they're considered a major player in Asian geopolitics. Chapter 4, Japan, Masters of Defense and Karaoke. Japan, the land of the rising sun, bullet trains, and oh yeah, a really, really advanced military. Now, before you get too concerned, Japan's constitution actually prohibits them from having a full-fledged military. Instead, they have something called the Self-Defense Forces, which is basically a military with an asterisk next to it. But don't let the name fool you. These guys are no joke. Japan has some of the most technologically advanced weapons systems in the world, including stealth fighters, destroyers that look like they belong in a science fiction movie, and enough high-tech gadgetry to make James Bond jealous. And they're not afraid to show off their skills either. Japan regularly participates in joint military exercises with the US and other allies, just to remind everyone that they're not to be trifled with. Chapter 5, South Korea, living next door to, well, you know. And last but not least, we have South Korea, a country that knows a thing or two about living with a giant, unpredictable neighbor, North Korea. I'm looking at you. They've got a relatively small but highly trained military, and they're constantly on high alert, just in case things get a little tense. north of the 38th parallel. But South Korea's military strength isn't just about deterring a potential invasion. They're also a key US ally, and they play an important role in maintaining stability in the region. Plus, they make a mean kimchi stew, which I'm told is very important for morale. South Korea is a perfect example of how a country's military strength is often shaped by its history and its geopolitical circumstances. They've had to adapt to some pretty unique challenges, and they've done a remarkable job of building a military that can hold its own. What are the future of force? So there you have it, our whirlwind tour of Asia's top military powers. It's a complex and constantly evolving landscape with new threats emerging all the time. And while we can all agree that a world without war would be ideal, it's important to understand the realities of the world we live in. These countries are all playing a high-stakes game of chess, and the stakes are only getting higher. Who will make the next move? What new technologies will emerge? And will we all be forced to eat bugs in underground bunkers while robots fight our battles for us? Only time will tell. In the meantime, stay informed, stay engaged, and maybe invest in a really good helmet, just in case.